Gene McBurney is a Bay Street legend, played a role in starting GMP Capital, and recently left that board, and as we were mentioning, has a brand new role with Canaccord Genuity, leading the investment banking for Latin America and Caribbean. You can see him on the screen there. Gene, we were talking, we weren't sure if this was like a New York Yankee joining the New York Mets or a New York Yankee joining the Boston Red Sox, but it feels like the biggest transaction since Tom Brady joined the Bucks recently. How did this all come together?
Well, I have Canaccord has been a formidable competitor for many years, and notwithstanding we're competitors, we're also very collegial, and I have a number of friends there. And then when I knew I was going to be available, Dan Dabbio reached out and introduced me to Pat Burke, and the conversation started, and I wanted to conclude things with GMP, and that was done, and I became a free agent, and like Tom Brady, I decided to move on, and but no logo for me.
And a few palm trees around you, kind of like Brady down there in Florida now. I mean, you do spend a lot of time in the Bahamas, and you're going to be running the Latin America and Caribbean investment banking operations. What exactly does that mean? I mean, what have you been up to, and what have you learned about the possibilities in those markets?
Well, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was I had a session with the senior guys at GMP, and I've had a home down here in the Bahamas for a number of years, and I have 3 lovely children who are all leaving, and I was living by myself in Toronto, and I thought that a good challenge would be to open up a GMP office down here that would service the Latin America and Caribbean, and it proved to be very successful. And then when GMP entered into their arrangement with Stifel did not want anything to do with the Caribbean, and so I stayed on at the GMP Capital board level until through the transition, and then I looked around for a number of people that reached out. I was very flattered at that, obviously, but Canaccord, I love their culture. I love their spirit of entrepreneurship. I think they've done a wonderful job in terms of integrating their wealth management with the investment banking side, and so it was a very good fit to say the least. And it was an easy fit because there's a number of people at Canaccord who used to work with GMP, and I knew a number of the people, and credit to Dan and to Pat, they basically said, you can do as you please with respect to, carrying on the same thing you were doing at GMP, and there was no conflict with GMP, so it all came together very, very nicely. And I'm very.
Well, you mentioned Dan a couple of times.
John, I got to tell you, I'm very excited about the opportunity because it's great to be part of a team again. It's great to be part of a bunch of entrepreneurial thinking individuals. I've never worked for anything other than an independent. Well, I've only had one job in this space, so it's. I'm very, very, very excited, and I think it's going to be mutually beneficial to both Canaccord, myself, and my clients. I still have deep relationships with the client base down here and throughout North America. So very excited about it.
Yeah, and I was going to say that when we had Dan on the program recently, he talked about the client needs that, business has changed because of COVID-19, but a lot of businesses have different kind of assistance they need and aid right now. Just give us a sense on what some of the most common questions you're getting from clients right now.
Is there going to be money available? That's the so I think there will be money available, and I think there will be. I think the market's going to be for the quick and the dead. I think if you've got to have a good business plan, strong management, and if you don't have that plan, and my advice to my clients is now's the time you should be building up your infrastructure, your management skills, and your supply chain, and do the things that you but mining's a little bit different. On the mining side, we're in a very, very robust mining market right now. In fact, Canaccord, I should say we did a bought deal this morning that was wildly successful, oversubscribed. So I think it's really going to be a market, John, of as I say, you're going to be doing. I think the mining sector looks very, very good. I think the cannabis sector is going to come back in a very strong way. But again, the strong companies will. There'll be a lot of roadkill along the way, and who knows about the Canadian energy sector. I'm not very bullish on. I'm very bullish on Calgary. I think Calgary is transitioning into a wonderful place for entrepreneurs and doing different things other than the oil and gas sector. But I'm more importantly, I think the energy sector outside of Canada, until we straighten out some of the challenges that we have, is going to be quite robust. So all in all, I think we're in for a very, very good cycle once we get through this the COVID crisis.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to hear you talk about the uncertain road for energy, because we're all sitting here trying to figure out what the Canadian economy looks like in a couple of years. What gives you the greatest concern there?
Well, right now you've got shut-in oil and gas, so you're in a position where you're not. You're in a position where you can't get the product to the market as efficiently as you would if you had better pipelines and better cooperation interprovincially. I think, though, there's an old expression in the oil doesn't spoil in the ground, so the oil is always going to be there. And do I think we're going to get through these challenges? Absolutely. I think that saner heads will prevail. But obviously, you have to be very environmentally responsible, and we certainly have to be taking into consideration the Indigenous people and their views and on what they're doing. But in my experience in dealing with the Indigenous people has been be transparent, and certainly talk about be respectful and talk about they call it what's good for Canada is good for them as well, so long as it's done properly. So I think we'll get through those things, and I'm cautiously optimistic. Do I think it's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 months? No, I think it'll take some time, but. Don't write off Calgary. I've had a lot of business dealings over the last 25 years in Calgary. Don't write off Calgary. It's a very, very entrepreneurial, robust business scene there. I think that'll come back. And again, I think there'll be lots of business to be done.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye out for it. Hey, Gene, thanks very much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
John, my pleasure, and hope to see you soon. Take care.
Yeah, that's right. Living our new normal here of doing interviews remotely from different locations. Gene McBurney, founding member of GMP Capital, and now with his new role as the head of investment banking for the Caribbean and Latin America for Canaccord